Hello guys, on today's episode of 100 Things, we're looking at Cook, Coleman, Bailey, Woodward, Dalton, Broadbent, Frost and Pegg to see what all the fuzz is about. It's Hot Fuzz.
So welcome to 100 Things I Learned from Film with me, Mark Plant.
And me, John Watson.
And today, John, we're talking about a film from 2007.
What a year.
It was a pretty good year. Some films from the very, very same year include Juno, Sunshine, No Country for Old Men, Persepolis, and There Will Be Blood. Unfortunately, there was some pretty garbage films as well. P.S. I Love You, Bucket List, and Hannibal Rising.
Crap.
Stinking.
Rotten.
Thankfully, this one's much better than those three. 84% on Metacritic. We're talking about Edgar Wright's Hot Fuzz. It's the second of the Blood and Ice Cream trilogy, of obviously the three of the trilogy of films. That's how trilogies work, idiot. What's your history with the film, John?
So I was always interested in Simon Pegg from space. So I think it was anything he brought out, I started watching. So I'd seen Shaun of the Dead, and as soon as I seen that Strawberry Cornetto Classic, I was intrigued with the vanilla. So I thought, you know what, let's see what he did with it. So I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't think I'd enjoy it as much as I enjoyed Shaun of the Dead, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Shaun of the Dead came out at a real kind of resurgence of zombie films, didn't it?
Yeah,
it was before. It was before films like there were so many zombie films like there is now because they're so cheap to make.
Yeah,
and I seem to remember at the time I had one of those Cineworld Unlimited cards. Mm-hmm. It was magic. Yeah, so I went to see that. I think probably a couple of weeks after I'd been to see the remake of Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
With the fast running zombies, and I absolutely loved Shaun of the Dead, mainly because I loved Spaced, even though they did nick quite a few gags from Spaced.
They really did. They really did.
They're really good at kind of like stealing gags from previous movies and shows, aren't they? Because spoiler, they do it here.
They really do. They do it a lot with action movies. They do a lot of cliches and stuff like that. So I've noticed they picked a lot of that.
But that's good. I don't know about you. I can be a little bit of a fanboy for certain things, and it's good to see stuff that you love kind of referenced, I think, anyway.
Well, fun fact, Simon Pegg says in an interview that he didn't regard Hot Fuzz as a spoof or a comedy. He's seen it as an action movie that just so happened to be funny. So
it is pretty serious at times.
Oh yeah.
And it's gruesome as well. It really is. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We'll get into that later. But yeah, some of those scenes were quite horrific.
Yeah. I saw this at the cinema. I was living in Middlesbrough at the time, and in fact, here's something that you don't know. I saw it with a mutual friend that we have. I saw it with a couple of guys. One guy called Jake, a guy called Adi. And a friend Shell, who I believe you used to work with. So look, let's move on to the film. It opens with the usual Universal logo, and do you know what, John? Before there's even a frame of the film, I've got a fact. Oh, before I do, let's just remind everybody that's listening what it is we're doing here. So the aim is for us to come up with a maximum of 70 facts, things that we learned about the film, each, in a bid to get, with no repeats, 100 things that we learned about Hot Fuzz. Okay, so I'll make a note of them. John, you tell me when you've got something. If it's something I've already got, then I'll scratch mine out and we'll give you the point on that one. And hopefully by the end of this, we'll be 100. Yeah. So as it opens with a ringing of a bell, which turns into a siren, kind of like a which could be my cat as well, and then goes into kind of like for the want of a better term, the Nino sound.
Yep,
you know what I mean? Yeah. Everyone from the UK is kind of good. Yeah, Nino sound. Yeah,
Nino.
And then that moves on and on. Well, what that represents the sound that police cars, vans used to make. So they started off with a bell. Then it went to that kind of Nino type sound. Then the and now the noise I couldn't possibly make my voice if I tried. Which they phased out the bells in 1963, and the Nino was phased out in 2005.
Wow. Man, you learn something every day. Yeah, you learn something every day.
Every day's a school day on this podcast.
Really.
So it explains what a great, what an exceptional and dedicated police officer our main character, Nicholas Angel, played by Simon Pegg. You know him from everything. You know from absolutely everything, including his terrible Scottish accent in Star Trek.
Yeah,
he's likable though, isn't he? He's likable in everything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He gets away with it, but it's like, it's so close to being rubbish. But he's got Scottish relatives apparently.
His wife's from Linlithgow, I think.
Yeah.
Or Bonnybrig, somewhere like that. So he based his voice for Scotty on that, kind of via Hull. I think it's it's not my thing, but I'm a big fan.
Yeah,
he tweeted me once, so that's me. I've arrived.
So he's a fan of you.
Yeah, apparently so. Yeah, it talks about all the great things that he's done. My favourite notes were. He's taken courses in advanced driving and advanced cycling.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. Advanced cycling,
which I thought was brilliant.
Yeah.
He's been stabbed. He's been injured in 3 times.
Yeah,
in the face of duty, including being stabbed by Father Christmas.
Yeah, AKA
Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
It's Peter Jackson. It's one of those things where you look and you go, it's him.
Get that down as a fact. I've got that as a fact as well. So we'll get that.
Okay.
Get that down.
Brilliant, yeah. But it's one of those where you kind of look and you go, oh, yeah. It quite obviously is now you look, yeah. Great. So he gets called into the office with his gaffer, who is who, John?
Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman, yeah.
Who narrates the beginning as well.
Martin Freeman. Huh?
It's strange because he narrates the beginning. I think Simon Pegg narrates the rest of the film, but at the beginning, that beginning part is just all Martin Freeman, which only makes sense now. So
yeah. He's basically running you down what he's done, just to get to kind of kicking him, and. Basically, they're not very happy. He's making them look bad.
He's too good.
He's too good. He's a really good cop.
They always ask him about the hand, though. How's the hand? How's the hand?
Yeah, still hurts. Yeah. So he decides to take it higher. So he takes it to Steve Coogan. He then decides to take it even higher than that. He takes it to Bill Nighy.
He takes it to Kenneth. Yeah, we'll take that to Kenneth, which just happens to be outside the office.
You don't want to have to call down the chief inspector, do you? And he's literally outside the door.
Kenneth? Yeah. Brilliant.
Second Cornetto trilogy film for both Bill Nighy, Philip, and Martin Freeman. Because Martin Freeman's kind of blink and you'll miss it stuff, isn't he?
Yeah.
So I had that as another fact.
And that one he is, yes, definitely is. Yeah,
yep. So they decide. He says, you really don't think that the lads are going to take this? They're not going to go for this. Yep. And they open the door, they open the party. Surprise!
Good luck. Yeah. Good luck. They're all waiting for him to go.
I can't help wondering if we do have any police officers listening, or anybody that's ex-police. Do cops really hate other cops that are good?
Well, they must have taken something from it, because I think when they did the research for it, they were pretty much saying that they had to interview professional policemen. So I think a lot of the content and even some of the sayings that it says were actually taken directly from the police. So I think a lot of stuff is taken from it. But I liked about that intro as well, when Martin Freeman was going through his part about sending him off to the new station as a sergeant. He pretty much said to him, I've never mentioned this to you before, and he actually reads his notes, and then his notes actually says from his notes that he spoke to Janine and says, "I'd love to settle down in the country sometime." But where does he get those notes from? Is it did he listen to his telephone calls, or Janine?
Because at the end he says, and he tries to hide it, doesn't he? He says, "Oh, I'd really like a cottage in the country sometime." Janine,
it's really lonely, so you don't know whether he's actually listening to his calls or where that comes from. But I've really enjoyed that.
I appreciate that as well. So he goes to see Janine. Do you know who Janine was?
Yeah. So that was fact. What fact are we on now?
Well, we're on number 4 with this one. Yeah.
So Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett. I don't mean to be that guy, but at the cinema, I knew it was Kate Blanchett because those eyes.
You cannot.
Absolutely, those eyes. Absolutely stunning eyes. Absolutely, she can act better than most people with half of her face covered.
Yeah. No, it was a good scene, and she done really well in it.
In fact, so much so, I think I would have liked to have seen her in the final Batman movie. As Bane would have done it for me. Yeah, I would have absolutely been. Look, take nothing away from Tom Hardy, but that voice, that accent, that kind of really weird kind of sounds like the ethereal kind of spirit thing out of Hellboy 2. You know, the doctor that they get to help them that's inside like a mechanical outfit. Bane sounds like that. You gotta watch it. I'll see if
I know what you mean.
Send you the YouTube. So we've got that. But it wasn't just her. When Nicholas Angel starts talking to Janine, he said, this guy goes, "I'm not Janine." Do you know who that was?
So I think there was definitely. I'm trying to think. He was in the Adam and Joe show.
You're thinking Joe Cornish.
Joe Cornish,
so Joe Cornish, who writes and directs, did the Tintin film, which is not so bad. That Tintin movie. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah.
It's pretty okay. I liked it too. But it did Attack the Block.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of fun. He's Bob. Hello there.
Yeah, he also acted with Adam Buxton in the Adam and Joe show, so that's maybe another fact because those two used to work together regularly.
There's a connection. Good stuff. I have that one. 7, John. That's a good start.
Bob the Tech.
5 minutes.
Oh no, it's Dave. Maybe because he's like, I'm not seeing Bob. When we'd never seen with Bob, and like, Dave.
Yeah.
Hello there.
But the guy that's not Janine is Robert Popper, who is the writer and director and producer of Friday Night Dinner.
Oh, wow. That's another. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Shalom, Jackie.
Shalom, indeed.
He put CSI to shame. He's like, you do realise the window's broken from the inside. And
definitely Ace Ventura moment, that.
Yeah, he can do everything. That's 2 references to Ace Ventura in 2 episodes, John.
I know, I must be subconsciously loving it.
Yeah. Right, okay, so he then gets sent to Sandford. Now, Sandford, I can tell you, is the name that they use in police training for the village or the town of wherever it is they're doing the training. So if it's a training course, it's always in the fake town of Sandford.
The road, apparently the layout for that Sandford and the police thing is somewhere in Aberdeen or Dundee, one of the two. But
is it really?
Yeah, it's based on a true location. So when they shot a map of it, the map is meant to be of a place somewhere in Scotland. I think it's either Aberdeen or Dundee, one of the two.
I've added that as an extra. I'm going to look that up afterwards because that's really interesting to me, especially considering I know Dundee as well as I do.
I'll double check that, but it's definitely somewhere in Scotland.
That's pretty
definitely
cool.
somewhere in Scotland.
If anyone would know, John, it'd be you.
It'll be me.
So when he's approaching the village, I mean, it seems like it's taken him a week to get there. The signal drops. It seems to get about 4 different trains. It just looks cold and tired.
His water lilies dripping.
Yeah, absolutely. So when approaching the village, you see the sign for Sandford, you see the model village, you see the church, and it's all. And this is like a real theme of this is setting it up for what's coming next. It's kind of giving you an idea about the next thing that's coming.
So I think that village not one. Is that not where Edgar Wright was brought up?
Oh right. Oh, so it's filmed in Wells, in I'm going to say Shropshire. There's people screaming at it now, going, "Wells is in Somerset, you idiots!" Wells is in Somerset. So Wells is in Somerset. So
right.
There you go.
Yes.
Good work. That one. There's a fact there.
Well, and another one is apparently because they had a cathedral, they had to edit it out, because it wouldn't make it a village. It would make it a town.
Yeah. Here's my argument on this one. You see a lot of the high street. There's a lot of shops for a village.
God, yeah. It really is.
Really go into 2. Summerfield and the corner shop. Check out his arse. Okay. So we're firing on the things there.
And the factoids. We're getting fired on with the factoids.
Indeed, we are. Yeah. So he arrives, and it's the first mention of service, not force.
He
says, because force is deemed to, and I can't read what I've written there. Force is deemed too aggressive. Maybe I think. Yeah. So that's another one for us. Tick that one off if you had it. Then he gets into the to the guest house, and he says, "Oh, I believe I'd like to check in, but you've always been here." And the bad record in the background kind of thing, which is a reference to what movie? Any ideas?
Oh, no.
It's The Shining.
Jesus.
So you've always been here as The Shining reference.
Setting up for the Shining.
Also, towards the end of series 2 of Spaced, there's the bit where Colin, the dog, is going to see the neighbours all the time. And with the old woman in the neighbours, and Daisy goes in, and it's kind of got the same kind of wobbly, the vinyl that's been distorted. Yeah. And then she says, "Oh, sorry, I thought you were my husband."
Yeah, that was a good scene.
It is, and then she says, and then she's doing the crossword. 7 across. What was 7 across, John?
Oh, is it one he says? Oh, I remember his hag.
He says hag, but 7 across is she thinks it's fascist. And
fascism.
Says, system of government characterised by extreme dictatorship. And he says, it's fascism. Fascism, wonderful. Which again is more kind of setting it up, isn't it? And very very appropriate for 2020 as well, isn't it? Hag and fascist come back later. So he gets himself checked in at the Castle Suite. And then he goes down to the pub, the Crown.
Brilliant.
And he goes in, what can we get you? Oh, I'll have the
cranberry juice.
Is this your paper? Oh, no, it's not ours. The old fish wrapper. It has her age as 55.
55, and she's 53.
53. Who was the actress? Julia Deakin. What's she out of? Do you know what she's in?
Nope.
She's Marsha in Spaced. Hello, Brian.
You love Spaced far too much.
I do love Spaced. I do love Spaced.
You need to get that down as a factoid. Get it down as a factoid.
Go on then. I love that one. But she's also the woman that Partridge has a thing with on Halloween. It's because of when we're recording this. Has the thing with on Valentine's Day.
Right.
Can't remember what she's called again. People are screaming at it. She's called such and such. And she takes the chocolate upstairs, the chocolate dessert upstairs, It looks like a dirty protest. But anyway, this isn't 100 Things I Learned from Alan Partridge, although I'm pretty sure I'll be able to do that.
That's in the post.
Yeah, totally.
He's sitting and drinking his cranberry juice.
Reading the cranberry juice. There's a guy behind him, not half going through the pints, in a Bristol Rovers shirt. We later find out that that's Danny, Bristol Rovers fan.
Yeah, but it's all the kids running about him that really catches attention.
Yeah, so Nicholas Angel approaches them. He can't look at it anymore. I mean, they're quite blatantly. The one that looks like Harry Potter looks about 10.
Yeah, with the braces.
And the reflection off of it. And he turns to the bloke and he says,
when were you born?
When were you born? And 22nd of February, what year?
Every year.
Every year.
That's a brilliant line. I love that
it's
line.
Also a good meme. 22nd, if you go online on 22nd of February, a lot of people do share that every year. But the other kid, 8th of May, 1969, and he says, "You're 37, get out." That kid would be 51 now.
Wow, Jesus.
I've put that down on the list, that's a fact.
Time to end before 2020.
That kid is older than you and me both. Obviously, he isn't. He's certainly younger than you and me both, but if that was his date of birth. More Partridge in the shape of the drunk kid wearing the cone on his head.
Oh, yeah.
Like Partridge. I quite liked that. He marches them all down to the...
in a line after Danny nearly runs him over.
Yeah. Gets them all down to the police station where we meet Bill Bailey's character. So Bill Bailey is reading, well, certainly one of them. Sergeant Turner is reading a book. Mm-hmm. Did you see the author?
Is it Blair or something, wasn't it?
Oh, it isn't. It's Ian Banks, Scottish author Ian Banks.
What?
Yeah, and here's the thing. When it's the other character, he's reading Ian M. Banks, which is, funnily enough, the same author, but he published his sci-fi books under Ian M. Banks.
Man.
And he's kind of normal, kind of Crow Road and Wasp Factory and all that kind of stuff.
Jesus, there's another fact.
Under Ian Banks. I recommend you read The Wasp Factory. It's a pretty big book for me when I was a teenager.
Oh, really?
It's a grim story. Yeah, it's a grim story, and it's short. And
turns into the happy man you are now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It moved me along. Yeah, and proud to say I introduced my sister to that book when she was of an age where it was acceptable. She's a good 7 years younger than me, so not at the time I discovered it. Otherwise, she'd have had nightmares.
Yeah.
So then it's the next morning.
Yeah, gone for a run.
He goes for a run, and everybody knows him.
Yeah.
Morning, Sergeant.
Morning, Sergeant. Morning, Sergeant.
Yeah, morning, Sergeant. Everybody knows him. It's it's something, isn't it?
Yeah. It's when he meets the slasher of Prices, Simon. Another quite funny. I'm a slasher of Prices.
Lock me up. My discount's a criminal.
That was so funny. I'm a slasher.
Which I thought was really, really good. Then he gets to the police station.
With a curly-haired version of Bill Bailey.
The other brother reading the Ian M. Banks book. And he says, will you tell the inspector I'm here? No. Why not? Because he's not here yet, which I thought was good. Oh, yeah. And then he goes in to the inebriate in cell 4 or whatever it is.
Yep.
And when it gets opened up, he's not there.
He's not there.
Turns out he's behind you. He's opened it up. Yeah. So I liked that. So then you meet. So now you've properly met Danny, Nick Frost. Wonderful little accent. I mean, it's probably all over the shop, but I thought it was.
No, I tried. No, it's just a nice, unassuming accent. I think he needed that for his character, just to be sort of a lovable character.
Such a lovely character, isn't he?
Oh, he's really. He nailed it. He nailed it.
Yeah, and then you meet Frank Butterman.
Yeah, Frank is dad.
Frank Butterman, who is the wonderful Jim Broadbent.
Yeah,
first Oscar winner in the film. There's two, to my mind, that are in it. But I don't know. I think he's the only one that Jim Broadbent's maybe the only one that got it before he was in this. I'm saying this now, and now I'm querying it.
I think you're right.
He did 2001 for Iris, Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah. Because they had to change one of the characters' names in the film because of that. Because I think one of the characters was called Irish, and they had to change it to something else because they thought it'd be a blatant plug for that film.
No, did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, that ticked on the list. Well done, John. No, I didn't know that one. That's something. But yeah, great. It's one of our great actors. Yeah, one of our great actors is Jim Broadbent. He says, you're replacing. I didn't make a note of who he was replacing.
But apparently had a big bushy beard.
But he did have a great big bushy beard, which is a fantastic line.
Yeah.
And he's taking him around the
tour of the station. Thing. I love the empty locker room.
Yeah, the evidence room's got nothing in it, and the code for the evidence room was. Did you see that? 999. For those that are listening overseas, that's the number you'd ring from the police or any of the emergency services.
It was the interaction with the Andes after that, I think.
The Andes. Yeah.
And when Danny gets hit with the bin, and they was like, "Why do they call them the Andes?" Like, because they're both called Andy. And I think
they said you were good.
They said you were good, but I think it was when Danny turned and says. Talking to him like an uphill struggle, which I thought was a brilliant line. Yeah. So good.
And then the bin, which is like a proper metal bin.
Oh yeah, it gets him right in the head.
I mean, you can imagine that you hear the sound, unless that's Foley, which I don't think it is.
Yeah,
is a great sound.
It's a cracking sound.
Yeah.
And then you're getting to see is it Edward Woodward's character?
Yeah. Just before that, I made a note. When Danny says "fuck," doesn't he? Oh, fuck off, Danny says. This is a surefire way to get us an explicit on the Apple Podcast app with all the swearing and the swear box. And I made a little note: knob is 10p, bastard is 20p, shit is 50p, fuck is a quid, cunt is £2.
Jesus.
Sorry, Mum, if you're listening. Proceeds to the church roof.
Yeah.
And again, that preempts something that may or may
Yeah. It's all about it.
Meet Edward Woodward's character.
Yeah. In my opinion, was the greatest TV cop at one point.
I did expect you to mention this. What do you know him from on the TV?
Equalizer. He is the Equalizer. He will always be the Equalizer.
He is the Equalizer. He's also probably one of the worst cops in cinema, in the shape of his character in The Wicker Man.
Oh yeah.
He's a real busybody kind of Christian kind of and he deserves to be put in that Wicker Man and burnt alive. Specifically in a wig and a dress, which does it for me. Not in that kind of does it for me.
Certainly not. Cool.
No, not saying I fancy Christopher Lee.
But that interaction with him, as soon as you walked into the room, you can see that cricket bat in the background. I don't know if you noticed it.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so when he first sees him, if you look behind him on the window, there's a cricket bat, and apparently that's a cricket bat that was in Shaun of the Dead.
Oh wow! I've added that.
I saw it as soon as I looked at it, and I had to double check. But yeah, the cricket bat is definitely a reference to Shaun of the Dead.
Nice, I like that. Yeah, but Edward Woodward always been keen of this. What would he be called if he didn't have any D's in his name?
It would be worse.
R.I.P. though. Actually, in saying that, there's a lot of R.I.P.s in this one.
He only died a couple of years after that, didn't he?
Yeah, Joyce Cooper, similar as well. She's Hag. Billy Whitelaw, she's a proper actor. Although there's a lot of proper actors in this. There really is. We've mentioned the Andes. Paddy Considine, and you knew I was going to come up with this. Paddy Considine is a proper actor. We've talked about this in the past. Really. I listening to another film podcast. Matt Ford was on another film podcast, and he was saying, I really like the Shane Meadows films, but he would say that because he's from Nottingham. He says because these people sound like us, and nobody sounds like us, in his true Nottinghamshire accent, although he's from Burton, he's Paddy. But they referred to him as Raging Bullring throughout the filming of this, which was a kind of a mix of Raging Bull, Robert De Niro, and the Bull Ring, which is the main shopping precinct in Birmingham. From there, but yes, I remember hearing that in an interview many years ago. Who else is there? There's loads of people in this. Sergeant Tony Fisher, who is known as anyone that likes TV comedies in the UK. He is the actor Kevin Eldon. The actor Kevin Eldon.
He's great in this, isn't he? He really is.
He is good in this. And I had to pause it to see the exact kind of thing, because when you first meet him, and I'm just going to pop this up on a shared screen for you to see, nobody else is going to see this, but he looks a little bit out of his depth. But just behind him on this kind of whiteboard, he's got all these bubbles coming out of where his head is, and it says inefficient, rude, disloyal, indecisive, non-committal, late, lack of leadership skills, and unfit. And they're all kind of mapped around his head, which I think is wonderful, absolutely wonderful, because he doesn't make any decisions for himself, certainly not at the beginning of the film.
No, I certainly did not. He always gets inspiration from Angel.
Sergeant Angel gives him everything, really.
Yeah, he really does, doesn't he?
PC Bob Walker and Saxon. He can't understand a word he says. He's brilliant. Yeah. Doris Hatcher. She's our policewoman.
We had a double entendres were unbelievable.
Yeah, she's our policewoman. She's not a policewoman. She's a police officer. She is a woman. I've seen her bra. But another vocab. I've made a note of that one, so we're getting that one ticked off. Another vocab. But that's our second Oscar winner, to my mind. Wonderful Olivia Colman.
Yeah, she definitely got it after. Definitely got it after.
She a couple of years ago. For The Favourite, which I'm guilty of still not having seen. Really must watch that. And then it's time to go and meet the NWA.
But before that, just before that, I think that when they're having the meeting, I think Edward Woodward is having a bit of a beef with a living statue guy.
The living statue.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm worried that we're going to get we'll be up to our balls and jugglers.
Balls and jugglers is a good line. Yeah, there's our friend the living statue at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And it's just there's new people there, but of course, being a living statue, he hasn't moved. So we got to meet the NWA.
The Neighbourhood Watch Alliance.
Neighbourhood Watch Alliance, which is again a reference to the Hip Hop Act. So, I mean, look, I hate living statues as well, but I think it's a little bit too much, really, if I'm honest.
I know, they just get paid to stand around, to be honest.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I have actually missed a couple of bits. I'm good at this, aren't I? So, right, that's 11:30. I guess it's lunch. They go to the pub.
Yeah,
everybody gets a pint except for Angel, who gets his cranberry juice. And that's the Fratellis. And actually, that's probably the last time I heard a Fratellis song.
Oh, wow, really?
It was about, but I hope it was anyway. Never really been a fan. Being Scottish and then being a Scottish band, you have to like them, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's the law. But yeah, they were ripping them in the pub about the stab vest. And Danny kept saying him stuff like, what's the experience? And he tells him, and then he says, "What's your second?" What's your second worst experience?
And then he says, "Oh, you're not in the city now." And he says, "But still, I'm going to wear it, even if there's not any huge amounts of crime." And he says, "Oh yeah, because we all sell apples round here, don't we?"
Yeah.
And then I can't remember who else it says. Oh, Andy's dad sells apples. Yeah, and raspberries.
And raspberries, yeah.
Which I was pretty into. Because it's really small town. Rachel's point, when we watched it together, my wife, she said, why have they got 2 full-time detectives in Sandford?
And consider nothing goes on. Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah, huge number of accidents, but they don't need that number of police officers. Everybody and their mums are packing.
And he's like, who? He's like, farmers. And who else?
Farmers' mums.
That's brilliant.
It's good. And Danny says, have you cooked any fools? Which I thought was good.
Have you cooked any fools?
Great line. They go in the shop. Annette in the shop, who says, check out his arse.
Oh, yeah.
She's in the first film. She's in Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, is she? That's a fact. I didn't know.
She is in the Winchester. I'm doing the W sign, even though you can't see. In the Winchester,
right.
She's the coccicidal maniac.
Oh my God, that's right.
Café au lait pour vous.
Coccicidal maniac.
Yeah, which is actually written coccicidal maniac, café au lait pour vous. Want anything from the shop? And they have a cornetto, which is relevant, of course.
Yeah.
Right. Next up, and this is where I've got about 12 different pages of notes. It starts to get a little bit confusing because I've gone different places with my notes. They're at the school. This is the next day. This is Angle, isn't it? This is.
That's where he gets interviewed.
His name Angle.
Yeah, and he's asking him to do all sorts of things.
Yeah, like, put the kid in put the teacher in handcuffs.
Give the blonde kid your hat.
That's it. Yeah, no, I don't think so. And Danny says at that point, he says, "Any questions?" And Danny puts his hand up, and I'll never forget because this is in the trailer. And he says, is it true that there's a place in a man's head that if you shoot it, it will blow up? And I looked it up. There isn't a place in a man's head. But if you use dum-dums, which are hollow bullets, I believe, that's how you blow up something. And again, I didn't get that little bit from the internet. I got that little bit from In Bruges.
Movie as well.
Which is a fantastic little movie.
That's good, yeah.
Not a great movie to go to the cinema with a bunch of guys and at the beginning when the thing that goes wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, like everybody in the cinema stops laughing for a good 10 minutes.
It's a
grim moment.
Horrific, isn't it?
Yeah. He rings. He gets a phone call from a guy. The swan's gone missing.
Oh, yeah, Stephen Merchant.
Yeah, Mr. Do you know what his name was?
Peter Ian Stalker.
Ian Staker. Oh, yeah.
P.I.
Staker, piss taker.
Yeah.
And the next shot is like a real smash kind of cut.
It is.
Taking notes.
But apparently the Swan story is actually real. It was taken from, I think, when they were interviewing the people in it. They actually took that as one of their stories. So that's actually a real
is
case.
It really?
Yeah, a real case. They had to try and hunt down a swan.
So what does it look like? Oh, it's got a yellow bill, slender neck. It's a swan, really.
It's a swan, really.
And then Danny's going, huh? And then you're going to scare it. And then the next shot is it chasing them. It's brilliant. Really good. They go down. They're sat in the car looking at people.
Eating cornettos and talking about them.
Yeah, why has he got his why has he got his hat pulled down, the brim of his hat pulled down over his face? If he's not suspicious, he's just fuck ugly.
Why is he wearing a big coat? It's cold.
Yeah, it's cold. Yeah, the guy, Pete, the guy with the cap over his head, looks like a budget Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh yeah, in a shell suit.
Yeah, Bradley Snanabatch. And then who's that? Oh, that's Lurch. He lives up Summer Street with his mum and sister.
Fact about that guy, the first thing he was ever in, and I remember seeing it because I'm really blown away by how far he's came. He was in the advert for Scottish
Quaker Oats.
Yeah, porridge oats.
Scotch oats, yeah. You would know that being Scottish.
Well, you know.
Reverting to type. But yes, I did also have that down. I put the Hound and the Quaker Oats guy.
Yeah, he's a Quaker Oats guy. He's claimed me fame.
Yeah. Lives at Summer Street, his mum and sister. What are they like? It's both the same person. Right, okay, so they then... Oh, do you want to go to the shop? We've just been to the shop. Yeah, another shop, which Rachel always says, that's you guys. Let's just go to the shop. So they go to Summerfield. Did you ever have a Summerfield near you, John?
Yep, I had a Summerfield, yep. I remember the Summerfield. But I remember it was quite... We had the quick save in the Summerfield, but I went to quick save more often because I was a cheap skate.
Yeah, we had the co-op, although I'm that common. It's the Coop. But yeah, we had the co-op in Summerfield, and Summerfield sold polenta in an old mine in town. So a lot of people didn't use that. They went to the co-op.
So do you know what? Do you know why they use Summerfield?
Yeah, but you tell us. I do know this one.
For two things, I think did Edgar Wright. Ian Wright. Oh God, that's a totally different podcast. Did Edgar Wright
different film?
Did Edgar Wright not work in the Summerfield?
Yeah, when he was at college or when he was at film school. Yeah, he did. And he filmed this. I don't know if you can see it online. I have seen bits of it, like a proto Hot Fuzz kind of cop thing, which was filmed in the car park of Summerfield when he was at college.
Oh, really?
I believe it might have also been filmed in there. But that's one of the list. So we go into Summerfield.
Danny's looking at a copy of Silent Rage, but starring Chuck Norris.
That Silent Rage in the bargain bin and Super Cop, Jackie Chan. And both of those are extra kind of foreshadowings for what comes up for the final act.
And there's a copy of Shaun of the Dead in there when he throws it back in.
Did you see what it was called?
I think was it no Spanish or something like that? No?
Yeah, it is. It's called Zombie Party, and that's the name of the Spanish version, apparently. But I love Danny's reading. He goes, Super Cop. Who's the cop that can't be stopped? The way he's reading it like a child, and he's reading the Silent Rage thing. I've not seen either of those, which I've seen a lot of stuff.
But I think a lot of the films that are referenced in it, they had to get permission. I think it's the only ones that they actually showed, so I don't think they had to do anything for those. But certainly the other films, they had to actually get permission from the actors and stuntmen as well, apparently.
Oh, really? Right. Okay.
Anyone that was in the scenes.
Yeah. So then he's talking to Simon Skinner, and I've written down here Timothy Dalton, capital letters, proper actor.
Yeah, he apparently
absolutely proper actor.
Apparently it was written for him in mind, and apparently he was really professional throughout. So some of the scenes that he didn't even need to be in, apparently he just showed up and just sat in on them.
It was written for him, and then he showed up on scenes. Two facts.
Yeah, so there was. I think there was the confrontation scene between him and Officer Angel were shot in Alfred Angle was shot in over 2 different days. So I think Timothy Dalton done his part, and then the next day Simon Pegg was met with his, and he just showed up at the Blue and sat and went through it. So
wow, right.
So I think it was Simon Pegg that he says is one of the most professional actors he's worked with. So,
oh wow, okay, that's pretty good. But proper actor, pretty good Bond. I don't care what anybody says.
I know it's a shame. I think he was good as well, but a lot of people just I don't know what's happened there.
I could see him as the 2000s Bond. I could see him as the Bond we've got now instead of Daniel Craig. If he was 20 years younger, it's that kind of. Because it wasn't it? It was gritty, less. Oh yeah, it was stupidity.
It wasn't double entendre womanizing. It was. Don't get me wrong, it was still in there, but yeah, it was more gritty.
So they chased down Pete. I've made a note reusing jokes. What's wrong, Danny? Never taken a shortcut before?
Oh, the standing fence joke, which is in all the Cornetto trilogy.
That's right, yeah. And he looks fantastic going over them. He jumps over one, he jumps over the, and then he does that kind of trampoline thing. Yeah. And Danny's like, whoa, and the music, the music swells, and he just collapses
right
through the
fence. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I liked that. And then they catch him after the swan's back.
And takes him out with a spray paint can.
Yeah, oh yeah, grabs it off the kid. And he says, all right, Danny, all right, Pete, I said, you knew him all along? He says, yeah, Pete's Auntie Jackie's sister's brother's boy. which is almost a Spaceballs gag, that, as far as I'm concerned. And what does that make you? Absolutely nothing. But no, that would make them cousins. I did a bit of figuring out on my fingers, all 6 of them. That would make them cousins.
Your cousins?
Nothing more than that, yeah. They then get him in custody, and it turns out that Skinner doesn't want to press charges.
Yeah, and he's bribing them all with Maryland cookies, I noticed.
Yeah, cookies, yeah. Which, let's be honest, are probably very, very budget biscuits.
Budget, but they're still tasty.
They're fine. Yeah, they're fine. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Which is obviously very, very annoying to Angle. So they're then next in the car.
Yeah, doing the traffic
speed checks. Yeah. And he says, "Look, Danny, it's not all about gunfights and car chases." And he says that. The car goes absolutely speeding by, and they go and catch again proper actor David Threlfall.
Yeah. He's frank and shameless.
He is, again, something I've never really seen. I don't like stuff that kind of social stuff that kind of pokes down. I would prefer it to poke up, but I'm told it's good.
Well, a fun fact, the first thing I ever seen him in was he was in a comedy with him and John Sim. It was the first time I've ever actually seen both of them acting, and they were both actual class. I can't remember what the name of the comedy was, but it was a sitcom back in the day.
Okay. I'll have to look that up, because I do quite like him. And Lucy Punch, she's a big, she's Hollywood actor now. She's in a lot of stuff in Hollywood now. Eve Draper, which I thought was quite good. And they were rushing to the dress rehearsal of their interpretation
of Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, Romeo and Juliet. Yeah. So they get away to that, and as Danny and Nicholas are finishing for the day,
he tells Danny to use his notebook, and he asks him to look at his notebook, and then his notebook is the wee flip drawn, which apparently is done with was drawn by Edgar Wright's brother.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh, right. I did say a thanks to him on the thing. That's pretty good. Nice one. There was also a thanks to I can't remember the name, Garth something or other, who I think is one of the 2001 2000 AD comic writers. You remember 2000 AD, Judge Dredd and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Loved it.
I saw him mentioned. He says, "Oh, well, we can't take tickets from someone we've officially rebuked," and he tears them up. And at that point, Jim Broadbent comes out and says, "I was hoping you would represent us." And the next shot, the acting is terrible.
Horrible.
Poison that they may be some lay on thine lips. And then there's the kiss, and then he goes, "You next." She jumps up and then shoots herself with a bang, and then it's da 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 da.
We've had that in a musical. Love me.
by the Cardigans, which I made a note of.
Oh, Jesus.
He's famous for the film, the Romeo plus Juliet movie, which I remember quite liking as a teenager, but I was a bit of a precocious child. So then they're asked, what did you think afterwards?
At the after show party?
And Tim Messenger says, what did you think? Yeah, well, it was a production. He says, cop enjoys watching young lovers?
Highly inappropriate.
Approves of suicide or something like that was the other one, which is, Simon doesn't like it, does he? Timothy Dalton Skinner comes across and he says, absolute tosh. He says, don't you know that Greg was an extra in Straw Dogs and Shirley was a cadaver in Prime Suspect? And they're just there in the background waving.
That's a running joke, and that happens a couple of times, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I made a note here. Danny becomes a better cop as the film goes on. Oh, yeah, because it's the bit where we sat through 3 hours of so-called acting, and the kiss was the only.
Oh yeah, he uses that line later on. Yeah.
He does, yeah, to the Andes, and it's kind of like that's really good. I too believe that she favours the older gent. Oh yeah, such and such's brother fingered her up the duck pond. That's not about anybody else, but that's the kind of term that I would have kind of absolutely as kids. That would have just that's the kind of thing that we always used to say. Right,
so Simon Pegg doesn't smile on that for about 40-45 minutes.
Does he not? Right.
That is so serious in it all the way throughout, and I think it's only later on at these points he starts to have a bit of a laugh.
Starts to really kind of be almost enjoying himself.
Yeah.
So then there's a murder. There's two murders. There's a double murder. And he gets woken up
in the middle of the night with the phone call.
Middle of the night with the phone call.
To say they've been decaffeinated.
I did like that one. Decaffeinated.
They've been decaffeinated. Brilliant.
And then you get there, and another official guideline fact: traffic accidents are now called collisions.
Collisions, because accidents implies there's someone to blame, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Is it Skinner?
It does. Oh, Skinner goes by in the car, and what's playing on the radio?
Oh yeah. I can't remember. I can remember the other one.
Dire Straits, Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, it is. Yeah, he's always got a song for the moment.
Yeah, and you're kind of like, oh, hang on a second, that's clever.
And he knows who it is as well. He knows who died. So
yeah. And a little bit later on, which I'll cover it now because it's just a throwaway line. It turns out Mrs. Blower had 4 alibis.
Yeah.
So I just made a note. Is she also a coccicidal maniac?
There you go.
There's then been an argument with somebody cutting down some hedges that he shouldn't be cutting down. We go to the farm, and it's Filch from those Harry Potter films. He's in lots of stuff, this guy. Yeah, you can't understand a word he's saying.
Yeah.
We bought the dog. Oh, we've not bought the dog. We bought him to do the translating. Yeah, I suppose. Well, yes, I suppose.
Yeah.
A bit of that.
Language, didn't he?
Yeah. Have you got a license for that gun? For this one. And then they go in, and it's like an arsenal, isn't it? It's like a proper armory.
God, yeah, it's that sea mine right in the middle of everything. I'm going, what the hell? Then when it starts ticking.
I did look this up because I was interested in sea mines. Obviously, very boring. But that sea mine would actually be known as a contact sea mine.
Ooh, because it's strong.
When you make contact with it, that's what sets it off. And then that'll come back again later on. So they then dive for it, and it doesn't go off. He seems to think it's been deactivated, and he's hitting it with his gun.
Yeah, Danny's kicking it.
And Danny gives it a kick, and all the way through, Angel's kind of cringing. And that's the end of the day. Right, okay. What should we, maybe, we've had such a good day, maybe we should do something, such as, I don't know, pub. Which is I've made a note of. Oh, what did you have in mind? I don't know, pub. I've put Mark and Kirsty. So when me and your other half used to work together, that was pretty much us. Yeah, if I'd have a crack with it at the end of the day. You doing it then? No? What do you reckon? Pub. They go into the pub. Roy, I've written down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because it says, what kind of wine do you have?
Red or white. I'll have a pint of bitter. I'll have a pint of lager. Yeah, Roy, which is a reference to Shaun of the Dead. As well as being a reference to Flavor Flav.
Oh yeah,
yeah, boy. So you were wondering why I mentioned Flavor Flav before we came on.
Yeah,
that is why. Okay, so they then proceed to get pretty drunk. I made a note, old money. You don't see paper money anymore, do you?
Before that, though, the policeman, it's not policeman anymore, it's officer in it, because it says something like, it's not policeman, it's officer. It's like, oh, what made you want to become a policeman
officer?
officer?
Yeah,
There's Uncle Derek.
I had written down policeman officer. Oh, Uncle Derek. Yeah, and he sounds like a really good guy. Yeah, but then he got thrown off the force for selling drugs to students. What a cunt is the line. Which I absolutely love. What a cunt. But Danny absolutely loves his dad. This, in this bit, you kind of learn that Angel's, he is a good cop and he wants to do right. But Danny absolutely loves his dad. What made you want to become policeman officer? And he says, because Danny does it. Dad does it.
Yeah, yeah.
We then get to meet the fridge magnate, which is George Merchant, the fridge magnate, which is a brilliant, to my mind, it's one of those funny little things, and only when you see it written down do you kind of realise it means the magnet as in the business empire. Fridge magnet, yeah. We always want to do. I can't believe I'm explaining that. Everyone's going, yeah, all right, like we don't know. But he's an actor. What do you know him from anything?
See, every time I see him, I know him, but it's not nothing that stands out.
I only know him, and this is probably quite bad. He's called Ron Cook, and I know him from two things. There was a BBC thing. I'm such a geek. BBC thing a few years ago that was about the 7 architectural wonders of Britain or something. And he played Isambard Kingdom Brunel in that, right? Wow. Yeah, really. But he's also Parker in that awful Thunderbirds movie.
Oh my God, that's
the one with Bill Paxton.
No wonder I forgot about it.
Yeah, you stashed that one deep down.
That's away. That's gone.
I think someone's had too much to drink. Oh, I haven't had that much to drink because he slips on the bar. We've all done that, doesn't he? Covers himself in the beer.
That's a brilliant scene. I love it when he slipped on the bar.
No, not you. And then you look. Oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah, it's just a good scene. I just like the fact that he slipped. It reminds me of the slipping scene in Shaun of the Dead when he slips.
Oh, he slips walking into the shop.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. I would have probably have broken something doing that. That's a really good move. That. Hey, Nels, got any papers? I don't even have enough for the fucking shop.
Then he gets so drunk, doesn't he? And he starts pissing on the machine.
Yeah, and he says, I think someone needs to go home. So they start taking him home. Oh, look, we did get a little drunk.
Yeah.
And they take it. And Skinner says, he'll be in bits tomorrow. So he did that.
And they take him home.
They take him home. And they put him in.
Take a 20 off him, give him back a 20.
Yeah, and your change. Thank you very much. And then George Merchant goes in the fridge and takes beers out. And he's got those Grolsch bottles, the posh Grolsch bottles.
So
and I made a note to say that police officers are underpaid, in my opinion. Police officers are underpaid. Fridge Magnet can have whatever posh beers he wants. They're drinking Cobra.
Yeah, I was going to say that because when I first saw it, I thought that was a scene with Danny, but then remembered it's not. It's just a scene with him in there with the Fridge Magnet himself.
Yeah. Which one do you think I'd like the most? No. Which one do you want to watch?
Which one do you start with? Yeah.
So, what do you think? Which one's the better film, in your opinion, John? Point Break or Bad Boys 2?
Point Break. I just think Bad Boys 2 was just more of the same, whereas I think it was good seeing Patrick Swayze out his comfort zone. And I know that Keanu Reeves is really wooden, but when you're a surfer, you can get away with it. And Gary Busey's in there. You can't beat a bit of Busey. It's a Busey bonus.
It's a Busey bonus. There's a T-shirt. I'm getting one of those. I'm crazy, Gary Busey.
It's so crazy.
I realised he had did he have like a motorcycle accident, not wearing a helmet or something?
I think, if it didn't, it certainly seemed as if it did, though.
Yeah, those teeth. Wow, some guy.
Oh, wow.
Jake Busey as well. I tend to agree with you. We watched the new Bad Boys a couple of weeks ago. Bad Boys for Life.
Yep, the third one.
hours I ain't ever getting back. I should have just watched Hot Fuzz again.
Yeah, it was just more of the same, wasn't it? And it wasn't even as good as I think the first one was good because it was just so fresh and nice. Where the following two was just exactly the same.
Yeah, come on, old men, we get it.
I know.
Right, okay. And then he says, "What did you think to that?" He says, "Well, I wouldn't argue that it is a no-holds-barred adrenaline-fueled thrill ride." So I looked that up. It turns out that no one's ever said that about that movie. But everybody has since said it about Hot Fuzz, which makes finding it on the internet
brilliant.
Possible. Yeah.
They crash out, don't they, and wake up to sort of Bad Boys 2.
Yeah, and get woken up to go to what used to be George Merchant's house. It's and Doctor says, "I told him he shouldn't eat so late at night." And Doris Thatcher says, "Oh, I don't know. I like a midnight gobble." And the unintelligible copper goes, "Carks." There was a bit earlier on where he goes, "Oh, tits."
The only ones that you make out are his sexual innuendo ones.
Yeah. The Andes call Angel Dr. Sherlock and Miss Marples at this point for some reason, which I thought was quite good. And he's massive argument about.
They still think it's an accident. They're pushing it as an accident.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then you get him to look at the church fete, which came out of nowhere.
Yeah. And as he sat there, just taking a moment, obviously stressed out, one of the Andes runs up behind him and goes, "Shark!"
I know.
which is a fantastic reference to Jaws, as far as I'm concerned.
I still know what it's like. Oh my God, where did that come from?
Kevin Eldon and his son, both Spider-Man face paint. And then it's about him shooting a gun. No, I don't shoot. I wouldn't shoot. I said I never shoot a gun. You ever shot a gun, John?
Air rifles, yeah. I think everybody's shot air rifles.
You ever cooked any fools?
I've cooked a lot of pot noodles, but never any fools. But no, I've never shot a real gun.
Okay.
I think
rifles the same. Really, not really my thing. Guns.
I'm more of a knife kind of man.
you never bring an air rifle to a steak knife fight. Is what you're saying. Right, Tim Messenger. Tim Messenger, your number's up. That's pretty good. And just as he's waiting. And they say, Simon Skinner, he's in the loo. Too much of Joyce's homemade lemonade.
Yeah.
And then Tim Messenger, he finally gives up to go and find Messenger.
And just as it gets round there.
As he gets rather, hi. And the thing falls on him and the blood on the camera, the gore on the camera.
It's such a disgusting scene.
It is, it's rotten. It's absolutely disgusting. But I made the point that I don't know too much about physics, but I think, pretty sure the weight and the force would break Tim Messenger's legs.
Yeah.
As well as just obliterate him. Can I have that as a fact?
Yes, please. Because even I'm thinking that they just mushed him right to the ground, whereas he's just still walking about for a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can have that.
I'd also missed Skinner's going, "Splat the rat, splat the rat." Have you ever seen Splat the Rat? Like the game? Apparently it's a thing. So you've got a bit of drain pipe and you've got like a stuffed toy. And you drop the stuffed toy, and the whole point is you're meant to hit or trap the rat using a stick. Right. And it's like an old English fairground kind of thing, and then you get a prize. I mean, in my day job, every now and again I do see rats, and I hate them, but that does seem a bit much to me.
It does, I bet. Yeah, get a drain pipe.
The rat is a real thing. There you go. So then they have to lock down the fate, don't they? They lock it down.
Yeah, they're left to watch it.
Everybody hates him. Yeah, everybody hates him because it's raining. The Andes think they should be in the pub.
And Danny and that fall out, don't they?
Yeah, Danny goes.
Danny he takes his monkey to his room.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with stupid. It says on the monkey's t-shirt.
That's quite cool.
And there's a point where one of the Andys said, "You and your big monkey," and
he's like, "Oh,
are they talking about that or me?" Which I liked. Acting on what the Andys say, Angel goes and reads through every copy.
Oh, sure he does, yeah.
For the last few years to find out a few things. Now, one point I've made in my thing here is the Skinner family tree is in the paper.
Yep.
If he'd read that, he would have known later on that Leslie Tiller was Skinner's cousin, because there's a family tree. You just see the top of it.
Oh, yeah.
Family tree. And then later on, it's important, cousin Sissy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's my new fact.
Another factoid.
Yeah. So they're then talking through what happened. Again, gets mentioned, fingered. It says, favoured the older men, fingered. Yep. just out of nowhere, a recap for those that weren't paying attention. And then it turns out it's Danny's birthday. Really inappropriate. Olivia Colman's character, Thatcher, comes in with the cake, but she's got those Gaza plastic boobs on.
Yeah.
Which, it's 2007. That's not good.
Yeah.
But it's Danny's birthday, and then Angel runs off on a personal errand.
For the
lights on and the siren on. So Danny's becoming a better cop. But is Nicholas becoming a worse cop?
Yeah.
Is he becoming like the rest of them?
Yep. That's a fact.
I think it's probably supposition more than anything else. But I've got a fact that's coming up. So he gets there to Leslie Tiller's flower shop, and she's moving. She's going to move to Beaufort Abbey. Beaufort Abbey is also not a real place. There's a fact. I looked it up on Google Maps, so it must not be real. But she's saying every time she mentions somebody that's died, God rest him, God rest her, God rest him, God rest them, all the way through, at the end of every kind of sentence.
Yeah.
And then he says, okay, he goes back to the car, and as he turns around, she's been stabbed
in the throat. Yeah.
It's brilliant. Really is. It's a great kind of work. And some fantastic acting. As she's kind of staggering around the place. Yeah, really, I thought it was really impressive. Anyway.
I know, I thought she did well, considering she had those shears in her throat.
Yeah. Geordie actor, by the way. Can't remember her name now. It's vanished from my page. Anne Reid. She's from Newcastle. Indeed. So they then take chase of what basically it's Ghostface, isn't it?
Yeah. They've ripped that off.
Yeah. Chase him. He cuts his leg, and then
he just disappears.
Yeah, there's not. Yeah, so he gets him a peace lily. I've got a peace lily, and it's called Sergeant Nicholas Angel. I do have one. My friend bought me a peace lily many years ago. Wow. I was living in Derby, and I still have it. It's a beast thing now. Well, it's still growing. It's going for it. Yeah, and he's called Sergeant Nicholas Angel. But there's not been a recorded murder in Sandford for 20 years, but the accident rate is extremely high. This is when they then go and see Skinner. He says, Sergeant Angel, you've been watching too many films. And Danny says, he hasn't. Which I thought was very good. And Skinner is stood in front of the picture looking exactly the same, like it was the same time. Employee of the month, Simon Skinner.
Yeah. So definitely an airplane moment, that, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's brilliant. He then pulls up his trousers to see the cuts, and they're not there. So it can't have been Skinner, and it turns out Skinner's on the all the cameras for the day.
Yeah. Running how it all goes down. I think he has a revelation, doesn't he, that it's more than one. He's sitting eating a cornetto.
Does. He goes into the shop for a cornetto. No luck catching them killers then. So only the one killer, actually. And then that plays over and over and over.
Yeah.
And he realises it's more. He rings Frank, leaves him a message to say, look, there's more than one. Goes back to his room, and that's when he gets attacked by the big
by Yarp.
Michael, yeah. Do you really want to do this, Michael? Oh, that's later on. Yeah, and he hits him. But they said earlier on he's got the brain of a child.
Yeah.
The brain of a child. So he throws the toy at him.
And that puts him off.
Puts him off, and then he smashes the peace lily over his head, which in a way is kind of the end of that peace lily.
Peace lily's over.
Yeah,
that piece.
Yeah.
And then he pretends to be on the radio. Yarp.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Nope.
Yarp. It works. Yeah. But there's a reference coming up where they say, "Oh yeah, we want to make Sandford great again," and I'm like, "Whoa."
Oh yeah, I remember that. I'm like, oh god,
gonna make Sandford great again.
Yeah.
gonna build a wall and keep out the Beaufort Abbeys. All those Beaufort Abbeys, we don't want them.
Once he does that, I think Danny comes in, doesn't he? And he puts that notebook in his.
Oh yeah, pocket. Yeah. He puts a notebook in his pocket. He says, "You're going to need this."
And then he goes to Castle.
I've missed the line of the film. Leslie Tiller was fucking murdered, and I've put that down as a fact because Leslie Tiller was fucking murdered. It's a great line. There's a Cornetto posting on Facebook, or Cornetto shit posting or something like that on Facebook.
Oh really?
Yeah, that's worth a look. I mean, there's plenty of hit and miss stuff, but anything Leslie Tiller was fucking murdered. It's pretty good. And with all due respect, Sergeant, you can't just make things vanish. I think you'll find I'm the Chief Inspector, and I can. He's always a good one. The Latin chant, as he approaches the castle, where they all are, where the NWA are, they're saying Bonum Commune Communatis. Any idea what that means?
Nope, what's that?
Greater good of the community.
Ooh.
In Latin. The greater good.
The greater good?
On the subject of that, they say the greater, they echo the term the greater good.
Yeah, I've noticed
six times in the film.
Yeah,
6 different times.
Yep, if they say it once, they've got to repeat it.
That's right, the greater good. Yeah, and he gets there and he says, "This is what I think happened and why I think it happened." And he comes up with you know, and you did, you know, you killed him for this and you killed him for that. And no, they actually killed them all for really reasons.
Yeah.
They were bad actors.
Laura was a horrid actor. Eva had a horrible laugh.
An annoying laugh.
He was a terrible journalist.
Yeah, he was a terrible journalist. He said she was 56. She's only 53.
53, yep.
I guess terrible actor. Again, we echo the bit about straw dogs and the cadaver. And they didn't like...
Tell her moving away.
His house. And yeah, she was moving away. Well, if we can't have her, nobody can.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So my note is there that English people that live in villages are petty. Can I have that one?
Yeah, you can, because it certainly seems to be the case. They don't like anyone, travellers, jugglers, human statues.
That's right. Which brings me on to my next fact. So he then runs away, and as he's running away, he falls through the kind of thing. And my point is there that the NWA killed at least 18 people, and that we know of 18 people. So you see the 4 kids in the pub.
Yep.
You see 2 crusty jugglers.
Yep.
3 gypsies, one of which is a child. Mm-hmm. There's also a dog skeleton, but I haven't counted that. That dog's dead. Human statue who looks very fresh.
Who's as fresh as the day was made.
Indeed, yeah. Sergeant Popwell, who's no skin or anything, but still got his big bushy beard.
Yep.
Pete, the fuck ugly shoplifter. I've put the farmer. Who's the farmer? Oh, the old boy with the sea mine. He's there. Leslie Tiller, who isn't there. George Merchant, Draper and Blower, and Tim Messenger, who you don't see. So that's 18 people they've killed in total. I don't see that it's necessary to kill those kids in the pub, but
they did anyway.
Yeah, they did. So that one's going down as a fact. He then runs into Danny, and Danny stabs him.
Yeah, I was quite surprised at that when I first saw it.
Yeah, so was I. I was like, oh my God, he was in on it all along. Puts him in the car, gets him out of the car, and it was the old fork in the eye trick.
The old sauce trick.
Yeah. So he then
back to London.
But just as he's saying, he says we can we can bring the full force of the police. And Danny says, who do you think they're going to believe? My dad or some police officers from London?
Yeah, London.
He's so into it. Like, he's so in that village. And he says, no, but we can. He says, forget it, Nicholas. It's Sandford, which is a Chinatown reference. Forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good Simpsons reference. Forget it, Marge. It's Chinatown.
Get it in.
Yeah, it's there. I've just added it. Right, so then he heads off and he's getting petrol or whatever, isn't he, in the shop?
Yeah.
And he sees all the movies.
With the guy for the 118 adverts keeps talking to him.
That's what the guy's out of. Oh, well done, you. We'll put that down. Well done. Yeah. That's well done. That's a good one. Is that still a thing?
No, I don't think it is now, but as soon as I saw his face, I'm like that. Slap a tash on that and it's a 118 guy.
Would you, once you've put the tash on him, would you have said, you've got a moustache, and you say, I know.
I know. God damn you, Andy.
It's the movies, and those are what makes him decide to go back, doesn't it?
Yep.
And he picks up the spray paint, and the spray paint is called Zito. Do you know what that's a reference to?
No.
Yeah, Joseph Zito is an American kind of action director in the 80s. He did, I think there were Cannon movies, you know, the Cannon movie studio.
Mm-hmm.
Missing in Action, which was, it was mentioned earlier on. The actor.
Oh,
God, it's gone.
Has it disappeared?
Completely gone, yeah. So, the guy that's in that was in all those, Missing in Action and those kind of things. Chuck Norris, that's your man.
How could you forget Chuck Norris? Who can divide by zero?
Yeah, but I've not forgot about Dre, so it's okay. And the other one was, what did I make a note of? Because there was a few. They were kind of like film 3 of a series and film 4 of a series. Red Scorpion, which is your man Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, Dolph Lundgren, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what the spray paint's named after.
Man.
Which is interesting. So he goes back, picks up the ammo, and he picks up all the ammo.
Yeah, that kicks a granny in the face, though. That's amazing.
That's right. Because everyone's packing round here. Farmers and their mums. That comes back, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
I've missed a bit. I missed London. Well, obviously I did one London, but there's a few of them. Forget Nicholas, it's Sandford. I've obviously made notes 12 times here. Skellingtons. He says, I've seen all the skeletons. There are no Skellingtons, which I quite like. And then there's who made your dad judge, jury, and executioner? And he says, Dad's not judge, Judy, and executioner.
That was good.
Yeah, so that was good. So he gets all the weapons and heads into town. Bill Bailey says, I didn't know we had a mounted branch because he's on the horse.
He's on the horse, yeah.
And it's the second reference of nobody tells me nothing, which I liked.
Officer 101 on both uniforms I've seen as well.
What was that?
So both of them have got the numbers on their lapels. They're both of 101.
Well done. Yeah, I've made a note of that one. Excellent. So they head back into the village town, really, isn't it? Everybody's there. All the NWA are there.
Yeah, all packing.
They are all packing. And what happens now is just
carnage.
Fantastic, isn't it? Yeah, it's great. There's so much shooting.
The kids spray painting the CCTV.
Yeah, so we can't see. Mr. Treacher, funnily enough, under that coat had massive shotguns.
Did you see? I don't know if you noticed the shot, but then a slow-mo, but one of the shells hit him in the face. So when he's cocking the gun, one of them flies up and hits him right in the face.
I'll go back and see that.
Yeah, don't take that.
So he's shooting. Angel shoots the tire, which I thought was really clever, actually.
Yeah,
the kegs roll off.
Then the priest bit when he comes up and starts to give a sermon.
Yeah. Fuck off, grasshopper! And he's got he's like John Woo style kind of guns in his sleeves, isn't he?
Yeah.
Brilliant. I liked that. Hatcher. They shoot Hatcher in the foot again.
Yeah.
He's doctor, he can deal with it.
And then the barman in the bar, the barman gets the bear trap on his head.
Yeah, the fruit machine in the pub makes the same noise as the fruit machine in Shaun of the Dead. You know, when they're hiding, they think,
that's one of the ones. I've got one of those ones, so you can mark that down.
Excellent, good stuff. We've both got that. It's and then all the coppers come in. He says, "Oh, that's ridiculous," and Danny says, "It's very unridiculous."
Yeah, and he explains exactly what's going on in Sandford.
Butterworth Senior gets away, so they then go to the shop. They go to Summerfields. Kevin Eldon, the actor Kevin Eldon, becomes a good cop, is the note I've made, because he tells them that they should go in and get them.
Oh, yeah, so he does, yeah. He totally takes charge of it, didn't he?
Yeah, I made a note that the brothers... Oh, actually, I'd missed. The ale, one of the ales on the bar is an ale called Gem, which is Bath Ales beer. Right. There you go. That's the beer geek in me.
You'd love an ale.
Noticing that, I do like an ale.
Yeah, you love an ale.
So Gem. Not a big fan of that particular one, but I've had some good, decent Bath ales. The Butcher Brothers, you know, the guys that are the butchers.
And the butchers, and they were in the van in the beginning?
Yeah, because Simon Skinner says, well, many people hold down many jobs in this day and age, which is a damning indictment of this country, first of all. But secondly, those are actually twins. Those guys, the Butcher Brothers, are actually twins, yeah.
Jesus.
Very much like those twins that are in Terminator 2 and Gremlins 2.
Yeah.
So that's another fact there.
And the two judges were, there's three judges, but the two women are Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright's mums.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's brilliant.
There you go. I've read that years ago. Yeah. I think they put them to work and just says, "Look, there's a favour." we want to save 160 quid. Yeah. So we're not going to pay two extras. We'll just get you in and give you your dinner. Right. I made the point actually. How do you think they score in the Village of the Year? Oh, it'd be good to see that score.
From the Village of the Year thing, aren't they? Bulletproof Butcher's Counter, which I thought was quite good, with a couple of butchers and a fuck ton of cutlery. All
you see is cleavers getting whipped through the air, which I thought was really good. But I like the sauce. I liked when one of the Andes got hit with the bolognese sauce.
It's crazy. It's bolognese. Yeah, I liked that. I thought it was very clever. So I was big into that. What happens? How do they get out? Oh, they take down Lurch. He takes down Lurch, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh, did you say cool off?" He says, "No, shame," which is a good. I use that GIF a lot. I use the GIF shame a lot. Then he says, "No, but earlier on, I did say a big and playtime's over." Oh, you were off the fucking chain.
Oh, yeah, that was a good line. Yeah,
because it's a real kind of movie. If you love movies, you love that. And then
they two escape, don't they?
And they get away, and then they head down the model village. I like a model village. I've got to say,
I do like a good model village, but
it's pretty good.
Bloody swan. They got the swan.
They did get the swan. I've made a note, swan, because they shout swan, grab the swan, put it in the back. I did think the model village was that the bit where they'd filmed that opening scene of The Crow.
That's a good note.
Down over the thing. See previous episode. And Frank's there, and
they have it out. Yeah, they have it out with Skinner, don't they?
Pack in, Frank, you silly bastard.
Oh, Jesus.
And then
the steeple scene is the one that gets
Frank gets away. They think they've finished Skinner. I can't remember what happens to Skinner where they think they've finished him, but then he comes back. Do they knock him out? But then he comes back.
He comes back up. Yeah,
Frank's got the kid.
Yep.
Hasn't he?
Yeah, so he's got the kid. The kid bites him because he says to him, stand back or the ginger nut gets it.
That's it. That's Skinner, because that's another biscuit reference.
Yeah.
Stand back or the ginger nut gets it. The kid bites him. They think they've finished him off.
He knocks him out.
The kid, what's your name? Aaron A. Aronson, which goes back to, do you want us to ring everybody in the phone book? We'll start with Aaron A. Aronson. And the kind of the double take is brilliant from Penn.
Yeah.
It's a really double take. And then
Skinner
comes at him with a Stanley knife, basically.
Yeah, like a box. As a box cutter,
as the Americans would say. Yeah.
And he slips on a miniature Summerfield van.
Yeah, and lands on the church.
Oh,
we mentioned it in the Crow episode of us. Very, very painful. I think I'm going to need some ice cream. It sounds a bit like Brian Butterfield. So Frank gets away in the car. And as he's driving away, you see him in the car. And who's the saviour at the end of the day?
Swan
The Swan attacks him. Now, I made a point earlier on to say that when they talked about what do we know about the swan that can break a man's arm? Well, swans can't break a man's arm. It's a myth. It's like one of these modern kind of myths. Swans can't break a man's arm, apparently. So it's a thing. So they can't break a man's arm. But then it goes to the bits, there's a lot of paperwork to do. And it goes to them checking them all in with the numbers on the names. And Frank's got a brace on his neck and his arm's in a sling. Did that swan break Frank's arm?
I think so. Which couldn't even done. Maybe it was a crash. It was just a crash.
Maybe it was the crash. But the swan, I've put give the swan a commendation. Is it commendation? That's what I mean. Give the swan a commendation if they still do that. I'm not sure. I don't know because I don't know how long swans live. But I would assume that swan is dead now.
One can only hope.
It's been 13 years. That's a bit harsh. Not a big fan of birds, but I don't think I would.
Those two swans, they're at me all the time.
Yeah. What about Saxon?
Oh, Saxon.
Saxon, who the actor's name is Samson. And if you consider maybe he was 5, let's say, as an actor, 4 or 5, they lived to maybe about 13.
In fact, apparently he couldn't be a police dog because he was too friendly.
No, is he really?
Yeah, that dog was such a friendly thing that they couldn't possibly have it as a police dog.
Oh, hey, well, there you go. That's
cracking dog.
So then we're at the epilogue, really, aren't we? So they've come to ask him to go back, and he says, "No, I like it here." So it's not very becoming. It's a good cop like you. The figures have dropped. We want you back. I guess that's kind of a be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
The helicopter comes in, which is a reference to that scene in Bad Boys 2.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty cool.
I thought it was good.
We then move back to the station, and in the station they're doing the paperwork. Someone gets a bin thrown at them again. I think this time it was
Angel this time.
You cheeky bastard. Cheeky fucker. He gets the bin, and then out of nowhere,
Edward Woodward,
our old friend Iwa Wuwa,
with his blunderbuss.
With his blunderbuss, yeah, that's right. And they hit him with a bin.
As you do.
He flies backwards into the evidence room.
The contact mine.
Into the contact mine. Very good. And I think he just say, "Oh no," or something like that, and then it blows up. And then the whole police station is blown up. But he's shot Danny by this point.
Yeah, which I suspect was a miniature that was in the miniature village when it blew up. I think they used the miniature, and that was it from the village.
Yeah, that makes sense. That absolutely makes sense. So we then cut to a year later, and we don't know what's happened to Danny. Angels at church with flowers, and all you see is Butterfield. I hope these are okay. And then Danny comes into shot and says, "Oh, she would have loved them." And it turns out it's Mum's grave.
Yeah.
So they put them down and they get in the car. Anyone near the church? And there's a call, and then they hit it. And then that's it. That's the end of the thing. And the
light up the roof.
That's it. Light up the roof. The top of the car's got HF on it. The gear stick's got HF on it. A real branded kind of. It's fun. Yeah. It's quite fun. The car was electric, I think. Judging from the kind of the noise it made when they took off initially, no noise, silent killer. But then when you hear the sound of the car accelerating, it quite blatantly isn't.
Right.
Which I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then we're on to the titles. The special thanks were quite interesting. Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, Guillermo del Toro.
What?
What on earth did del Toro add to that? I think potentially at that time they'd been working together with Wright on the movie, the two movies, the Robert Rodriguez one where it's the zombies, and the Quentin Tarantino one where it is the car, stuntman Mike and the car. Those two. They made them in a movie, Grindhouse, I think it's called.
Oh yeah.
There's that, but there's kind of little bits in between. There's little kind of trailer bits in between, fake trailers. And Edgar Wright's one is called Don't, and it's like a horror kind of, if you're thinking of going in that house, don't. It's like a 70s Hammer kind of thing. But all three of those certainly had something to do with that. So they maybe discussed the thing, which I thought was quite interesting. I said it's a brilliant soundtrack, Supergrass, a couple of Kinks numbers. I don't know about you, but I thoroughly enjoyed watching it again.
I kept forgetting to take notes because I was getting too into it, to be honest, because it's just so absorbing and it's just so funny. It just doesn't. It never goes off. It really doesn't.
Yeah, I think I said to you I was going to take notes. I'll take some notes, but it actually took me, from all the notes and all the scribbling down and stuff that I was doing, it took me about 4.5 hours across 2 days to watch a 2-hour movie, because there's so much. I was exhausted. I think I need a really early night tonight after all that. But the film score is by David Arnold. All that stuff, all the stuff that's in the fight at the end. Yeah. It sounds like kind of chop-socky kind of... he does the James Bond ones. He does loads of films. Independence Day. He's done loads and loads of film scores.
Who done a big one for
he's
that?
Done some of the Danny Boyle stuff. Yeah, he's done loads and loads of stuff. But he's again proper kind of composer. Yeah. Up there with. But I think he started out as he did like singles. I think he might have done a couple of Bjork songs or something.
Right, okay.
Like produced a couple of Bjork songs.
Is he as big as Hans Zimmer?
Well, I don't know about that, but he's certainly as big as the guy that did Moon, that used to be in the in a band, and that's just going to. It's not a very good podcast, this, when you can't remember the names of anything.
I do like Moon, though. I think
Moon is good. Yeah, Moon is a great film, but that's kind of that really kind of science fiction-y kind of thing. Clint Mansell, you'll know Clint Mansell. He used to be in Pop Will Eat Itself back in the 90s.
Right.
There you go. Yeah. We are showing our age now. So great movie, great.
Happy with that.
Yeah, great chat. Really enjoyed that. I don't know about you. Any facts to add that you think we might have?
To be honest, no. I went over the majority of ones you've got. I had a couple of extra ones, but I've put them down, so I'm out. What about you? Yeah,
I am absolutely out. I think I've got them all. The only one that I hadn't got ticked off by the looks of it was Swans Cannot Break a Man's Arm. Yeah, that's it. Tim Messenger's Legs, Bill Bailey's book. Yeah, I'm out. How many do you think we've got, John?
Oh, so there's another one. Danny's... no, Danny. Oh, God. Nicholas Angel's badge number was 777.
Yes, yeah.
It was a bit weird that 007 actually used his badge number at one point. He actually called him 777.
He does. Yeah, he does. Yeah. Oh, well noticed. Yeah. No, I did notice that, but I didn't make much of a connection.
It's not because it was 007. It's just about weird 007 calling somebody 777. So I don't know if it was just a reference to him being 007 or it was just a coincidence.
But it's still going to go on the list. That's what we're here for. It's going to go on the list. So that ends on. How many do you think?
Easily about 50.
Well, you're not wrong. It's over 50. It's 61. We hit 61. So
we're getting better.
Almost double what we got for the Crow.
We're getting better.
Happy with, but so far we have not hit the remit of our show's title, which for those that have just tuned in is 100 Things I Learned from Film. You can follow us online. We are on Instagram as 100 Things Film, and we are on Twitter as 100 Things Pod. So follow us on there. We would love to hear what facts we missed, because I'm pretty sure there's plenty of those. And we'd love to know what films you think we should be watching. We are open to probably once a month doing a listener's choice. But for now, we'll do our own choices. We'll keep it a little bit of a secret as to what we're going to be doing with our next episode. But one thing I will tell you is that we're hoping in the next couple of months to be inviting on a couple of guests. Yeah, interesting stuff.
Exciting.
Yeah, they're not famous people, by the way. They're people we know who love films, and they're going to be bringing on a film of theirs.
I thought it was either going to be Santa or Peter Jackson.
Or both.
Or both stabbing, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. As a fat bearded man, I might come on as Santa at Christmas for, I don't know, Jingle All the Way.
Oh, God. A nightmare.
Trouble Man. Okay, look, so thanks very much for listening. Hit us up on the socials. Do rate and review if that's an option, please. Certainly on Apple Podcasts. It allows us to get in with other people. Leave us some comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you love. Let us know what you don't love. We'll try and do that. So I'm Mark.
And I'm John.
And thanks very much for listening to 61 Things I Learned from Hot Fuzz. See you again.